for the presentation of the flag by our own Rosemeade Boy and Girl Scouts, followed by taps, performed by our own former Rosemeade runner, Emily Boucher.
Color guard, halt. Please cross the colors. Color guard, post the flag.
About 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true then as they are now. Today, November the 12th, 2018, Rosemeade Elementary, as well as our nation, is celebrating Veterans Day. To mark this important day, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it.
Each and every day, countless sacrifices are made by brave men and women who in our armed forces to protect the many freedoms that each of us enjoy today. Today we salute you. We are honored to have veterans among us, and many of you in the audience may have friends and family that have served or are currently serving in the armed forces right now. To the veterans that are here with us today, and to the families of veterans, we thank you, and we will not forget the sacrifices that you have made for each of us. Here is our Rosemeade Choir performing My Country 'Tis of Thee with a solo by Giselle Martinez.
Let
ceremony ended on June 28, 1919, in the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. An armistice is an agreement made by opposing sides in a war to stop fighting for a certain time, like a truce.
In November 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day, but in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower changed the name to Veterans Day so that we may honor all veterans. Here's our school choir with 50 Nifty United States.
50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies. 50 nifty stars in the flag that billows so beautifully in the breeze. Each individual state contributes a quality that is great. Each individual state deserves a bow. We salute them now. 50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies. Shout 'em, scout 'em, tell all about 'em. One by one till we're given a day to every state in the USA. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming, North, South, East, West, and our objective opinion. Texas is the best of the nifty, nifty United States from 13 original colonies. Shout 'em, scout 'em, tell all about 'em. One by one till we're given a day to every state in the good old
Today we are honored to welcome our guest speaker. Mrs. Creer has been a part of our Rosemeade family for 2 years now. She is a proud parent of Cora Creer in first grade and sweet little Mila. Mrs. Creer has served her country in the U.S. Air Force for 10 years. Please welcome our guest.
Thank you so much, Rosemeade. This is amazing. I couldn't believe what an honor it is when Ms. Robert asked me to come and speak with you all in honor of Veterans Day, which of course is very near and dear to my heart. My name is Leah. Most of you probably know me as Cora Kay's mom. I want to thank our community leaders, our fantastic district for letting us do this and recognize the importance of veterans within the community. Ms. Gutierrez, the Rosemeade Student Council, which did an amazing job decorating and organizing everything under the guidance of Ms. Robert. Roadrunners, it's so great to see your shining faces and hear your amazing voices today. And fellow veterans, I stand up here in awe of each and every one of you. Not because I know what you've been through, but because I feel a camaraderie with you. I can't speak for every veteran, but I can tell you a little bit about my journey. It started kind of where you're all starting right now. In elementary school, I was very small and I was drawn to anyone in uniform. My dad took us to air shows. I grew up in a small town in Nebraska, and Offutt Air Force Base was just down the road from us. As long as I could remember, I admired people in uniform, whether that was our local police department, fire department, scouts, sports teams, medical professionals. Anyone I saw wearing a uniform, I always wanted to know what that was about. What I realize now is the common thread all of those people in uniform had: service. They all had decided to serve and serve on a team. This underlying admiration led me on a natural progression. Students get asked all the time, what do you want to be? I went through my list of various professions. Paleontology. No, not a lot of military people in paleontology at that time. So I checked off all sorts of professions because I knew that I just had to wear a uniform someday. I was in Girl Scouts. I participated in team sports. Later on, I was in Civil Air Patrol. Always, I found my way to wear a uniform. In high school, I met with every service branch representative to see if I could find the right fit and the right uniform for me. I went on to do Air Force ROTC at the University of Nebraska. And it turns out that the answer to what do I want to be was already there. It was a call to serve. I just had to sort out the many options. The how to be. The Air Force made quick work of those options. Upon graduation, I was commissioned as second lieutenant and told I was going to be a logistics officer. Now back then I had no clue what that meant, but I was going to go do it. It was time to learn more about lots of people and lots of stuff all over the world and how to move them. My first assignment was Yokota, Japan. I moved from Nebraska to an Air Force base near Tokyo, and it was the best thing I ever could have done. I got to meet my new team, wearing my new Air Force uniform, and learn about logistics, moving all that stuff and all those people all over the world to support our nation's missions. We also got to partner with the Japanese Defense Force and the Air Defense Force. We were hosted by amazing people in Japan every day, and we had both Defense Force personnel and civilians working with us on the base. From there, I moved to Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina. Again, not a place close to Nebraska. And in North Carolina, we were right outside Bragg Army Base. And Fort Bragg was a whole different world in itself. It was huge. They had tanks that they liked to drop out of airplanes. And I got to learn all sorts of stuff about delivering cargo into drop zones and partnering with another branch of service, which, while still military, sometimes spoke a different language from all of us in the Air Force. From there, I went to Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Yes, Germany, across another ocean, and got to meet more fantastic team members, both in and out of uniform in Japan, or in Germany rather. There, we supported the NATO mission. We supported all the countries of Europe. We worked with some of the command structure in the growing forces in Africa. Again, I got to meet more people who wanted to serve just like me and work as a team to get it done. Among those three main assignments, I got to go to other locations to continue my training, deployments, exercises. Like I said, I got to work with not only the Air Force and our sister services, but also the other nations that America partners with each and every day. The amazing experiences, some were more fun than others, admittedly, but always meeting talented people with a strong dedication to serve on those teams. We were all stronger individually because of the support we received from each and every one of our comrades on our team. After 10 years, I attained the rank of major, and I had to make a decision about what I was going to do with the next part of my life. It took me 7 months to decide that moving along and using my GI Bill to increase my education was what I needed to do. But that really didn't separate me from the military life. You see, I went on to work on my master's degree at the University of North Texas up in Denton, and I quickly found the veterans office up there. And every day in between classes, I could sit with other veterans and share stories and experiences and remember how it was like to be on that team and realize that we're still on the same team. Now I have a veteran's view. It's not the same, but it's just as proud in what I've done. Pride in having served in a long tradition along with fellow Americans, There's a comfort that I share, commonality with every other vet that I come in contact with. It's estimated that there's about 19 million living veterans in the United States today. I found them in my master's program at the University Vet Center. After I got my degree, I went on to work in a hotel. You think, oh, hospitality, not a lot of veterans. Believe it or not, I ran into them right away. And when you meet somebody and you shake their hands, you kind of have a glimmer in your eye and you know who you're talking to. Oh, that's right, you're a Marine. I even ran into volunteers, veterans on coaching teams, the other moms who go to hockey and soccer with me. Vets are everywhere. They can be seen still serving out of uniform today. Some of the more obvious ones are our police officers, like who are joining us today, our fire and medical emergency personnel, the high-tech industries, yes, even logistics has a lot of veterans in it. Some of the less obvious ones are teachers. We have a great Troops to Teachers program in America. We've got coaches, neighbors, mechanics. Did you know that Mr. Neal, our crossing guard on Kimberly, is a veteran? He's amazing. I love that guy. And even humble room moms like me are all veterans. Most probably look like what you might think of as normal people. Some maybe not so normal. When you say thanks, we don't always know how to respond. And that may be because a lot of the vets I know serve because it's part of who they are. The military provided them, and me, with the how to be who we are. Today, I am filled with humble gratitude for the vets who came before me, particularly on this 100th anniversary of the original Armistice Day of World War I. For our current members of our total force, every branch, in all capacities, whether it be active duty, guard, or reserve. And for our future veterans, you'll notice I didn't wear my uniform today, and that's because I've actually already passed my uniform on to an Air Force ROTC cadet at University of North Texas who will graduate in December, and she will be an Air Force nurse. And for you, boys and girls, Rosemeade Roadrunners, for you, for making this a nation of people worth serving. Everything you do every day, making it a great nation, makes me proud to be part of this tradition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cryer. We are all inspired by your service to our community. Throughout nation's history, American soldiers, sailors, armed men, Marines, and Coast Guard men have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the American service members who died in battle or who were wounded.
Today, it is indeed our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave. Here's our choir performing Deep in the Heart of Texas, accompanied by Sophia Muhammad on piano.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
urgent need, these brave ones raised a hand. No hesitation held them back. They were proud to make a stand. They left their friends and family. They gave up normal life to serve their country. They plowed into strife. They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores.
Some lost new friends, some lost their lives in long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered a call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought.
This Veterans Day, we salute each and every one of them. The noble and the brave, the ones still with us here today, and those who rested in a grave. So here to our country heroes, they're cut above the rest. Let's give the honor that is due to our country very best.
On behalf of Rosemeade Student Council, we want to thank our honored guests, the Board of Education members, parents, and families. Thank you to our principal, Ms. Gutierrez, our assistant principal, Mrs. Foster, Mr. Farr, our music teacher, and the Rosemeade Choir for their music selections. Thank you to our honored guest and keynote speaker, Mrs. Courier. Thank you to all of the students and teachers who were involved in today's program. We would most especially like to thank our veterans for being here today. We'd like you and your families to join us for a special reception following today's program in our school library. As we bring our program to a close, our choir will lead us in our school song with a solo by Adriana Shavira.